Welcome to the Better Two podcast with DM Needham. I'm your host, Donna. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Lisa and Joanie Pimentel of the Hat Ladies. They have a brand new record called You're a Star Out, and it's not just your average record. It's a record for kids, but adults may like it too. So tune in and hear about their journey of creating the record and being a music teacher and so much more. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Joanie. How are you doing today?
Hi, Donna.
Good. Hi, Donna. How are you?
I'm good. So we're going to dive right into this. Why do you call yourselves the Hat Ladies?
Well, we have
Besides
these
the
fabulous
hats.
hats.
Yes.
We have these fabulous hats, and we just had to have something to do with them.
It's like, what can we do with these hats? Let's start a music project. And
actually, it's a reference to the fact that we wear a lot of different hats in our lives, as you know, many people do. So it's really a reference to that. It was Lisa's idea.
I like wearing hats.
I'm sure it's a question that comes up because when people think of hats nowadays, I mean, back in the day, people will wear hats for many different reasons. And other than winter, you know, people don't wear hats as often. You had berets that people would wear, and Mary Tyler Moore had her iconic throwing the hat up. But
we're gonna make it after all.
But we don't wear hats as much anymore.
It's true.
You know what? I actually wear hats a lot. I'll wear baseball caps. I wear fedoras. I do like hats.
I love hats. Unfortunately, I have a gigantic head.
She does.
It's true. And they don't, as much as I would love to wear hats, when you go into a store and pick one up, there's never my size. In fact, this hat here, Lisa ordered them for us. Custom ordered. And mine I had to send back because it wasn't big enough.
I said, give me your biggest hat. And they sent it, and it was still too small.
Kindergarten graduation, they had to get me a bigger little cap for my head because I understand that problem wholeheartedly.
It's to hold your giant brain.
You can change the name of the podcast to Big Head People Podcast.
Right. Well, you know.
Then Joanie.
You got a giant brain. That's what happens. You need a really big hat.
I mean, you can find hats like at Torrid because they will size up because it's a plus size woman. But most stores, no. Mm-mm. And then, of course, if you get a small hat, it's going to just like cut off everything here. And you're like,
yep. Joanie said it has its own weather system. Okay, just kidding. Okay.
Oh. So you're both music teachers. And I read in your article with Divine Magazine that you guys were touring musicians. Is that true? I mean, what was that about?
True.
Well, go ahead, Lise.
Well, the both of us have been playing music since we were like able to, like 15 years old. We both had our first bands, even though we weren't in a band together. But you could, you know, I said this before, is that you could like track our whole life by what band we're in. You know, like the timeline of bands we were in would like be a straight line. So, you know, that brought us here. Like, you know, we've both been signed to different labels. Have you been? Yeah.
You know, yes, I have small.
And I was on Warner Brothers with a band, and we had a band together, and then we did a lot of touring, and that's just been our life and who we really are. It's the Hat Ladies album is something we've always wanted to do, but that's really the new thing for us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we hadn't, prior to the band that Lisa and I were in together, which is still like, we're still a studio project. Before that, when I was back in Boston, I was in a band and toured Europe multiple times, and China. And, but teaching has always been like an anchor for me, for sure. I've always, you know, people ask me how long I've been teaching. And I was like, I've been in and out in teaching for like the past 30 years. But
and when we say touring, it's like touring during the summer. Like we tour all summer. We tour over winter breaks. We go out, like do fly dates on the weekends. We've never been, because like Joanie says, like we're at the core where we really are teachers too. And we're tethered to the teacher schedule. You know, it's pros and cons to that, all of that. And one is that you're tethered to it. So it's always built around that.
Yeah. I mean, as far as being a touring musician, I think typically speaking, because, you know, my children are grown now, but when they were growing up, you know, I can't be gone for months and months and months at a time. But I think generally once they got to be older and adults, I could do about 8 weeks at a time, but I wouldn't do much more than that. Yeah.
What'd your kids think about that? But hi, I'm going off on tour. Yeah. What did they do?
My own children?
Yeah. I mean, did they think it was cool, or did they were just like, whatever?
You know what? for them, my life was very compartmentalized, that I would be, when I was at home, to them, this was not anything unusual. It's just what mom's job was, so, and it worked out great when they were, especially when they were in like elementary school, because I was free all day and early evenings, so I could chaperone field trips. I was a room mother, and I did all that. And then we'd go home after dinner, they'd do their homework, they'd go to bed, and then I'd go to work. So I didn't sleep for about 7 years,
Yeah.
but for them, it actually worked out pretty well. And then when they got to be older, they're not really super impressed with it because it's just part of their normal life. That was my job. Sometimes though, when another young person or somebody else would be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I saw that show or I heard that song in the movie you did. It's so great." And then they are suddenly reminded that,
Their mom's a rock star.
And of course, then mom's got some cred and it's important. And yeah.
they think it's cool when somebody else is impressed by it,
Yeah.
but they are not that impressed.
It's kind of like that with the students too. It's not, it's really about the work with the students. Like we're so into the work itself that, I think, sometimes they're like, oh, wow, and then you find out that some of them actually do deep dives and they come in and they can play. Like this kid one time, we had this song called Drunk Creepy Guy. And some of the music we have, we don't advertise it at school, but the kids know we were on it. And Walter came in and he's playing the song on piano. I'm like, I know that song from somewhere, but I didn't recognize it because it was so not punky and not
for kids.
And not for kids. And I'm like, what is that song? And then I realized he's playing Drunk Creepy Guy on the piano. And he's like, hee hee hee,
Drunk creepy guy.
Oh yeah, that's a No Small Children one.
Yeah, and this like they have
not a hat. I shouldn't have brought that up in the Hat Ladies interview. So yeah, kids don't go to that one. Okay.
Yeah. So, but prior to this, I mean, we again kind of compartmentalized. We've kept
we
these
have.
lives very separate. But at one point, some of these families, the parents would just by coincidence be at a show that we were playing, and they would go, "Oh my God, you're my kid's music teacher." And then the next thing you know, we come in the next day and the kid is wearing one of our t-shirts from our band. So at that point, we really allowed us to kind of talk about that and really speak to the experience of being a live musician with the students, without, there was things we could play for them and we did, and other things that we would never dream of playing at school.
But it's also like the experience we have, as far as them recognizing it, that's one thing. But all the experience we have from the road, all the experience we have from being in the recording studio so much and making our own records and writing our own songs and being in a band and touring and getting on bills with, famous people, all of that experience coming to the classroom is really valuable, as well as the experience in the classroom with the kids and how open they are and how joyful they are.
Yeah.
And how they want to try things and they're just like so awesome to be around, and to take that energy and bring it out to the road where people are getting kind of beaten down a little bit. It's really kind of a perfect storm for us,
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I was going to say, I think that also gives you a different feel. I mean, music teachers, no offense to any music teachers, but there's a lot of music teachers that just studied music and went into teaching, and that's it. And you have this real world experience that if a kid wants to end up becoming a musician, you can sit there and say, well, here are the roads that you can take. And granted, everything has evolved now with streaming, and it's not what it used to be as far as getting signed necessarily. You have to build your audience before they'll even look at you now.
Right.
But you still have all that real world experience. And that to me would be something that's priceless as far as being able to help somebody.
Yeah, it's like the hustle is the experience, not like, like you're saying, being signed. It doesn't really mean much at all, but the hustle in the getting, knocked down, getting back up over and over, or being creative and how to navigate and how to stay strong and how to keep your core values in this very cynical world is all definitely.
Yeah, and you get knocked down 6 times as long as you get up 7.
Yeah, exactly.
So the the other part of this too, just speaking to something you were just saying about for the kid who says, I really want to be a musician. And we do have quite a few students like that, but we also have a lot of students who aren't that way. They don't necessarily identify as a musician, or they identify as being an instrumentalist or whatever, but making music is a valuable experience for them. So, I don't look at my job as my job is to create as many professional musicians as possible. I don't see that. For me, it's my job is to create as many positive experiences around music as I possibly can, because as Lisa says, music belongs to all of us. It belongs to every kid. And even if they don't go on to make music their life, this experience will enrich it and hopefully help them aspire to some other section of their life. That, it's like, most high school basketball players don't go on to play professional basketball, but the experience of playing on a team is really important to their development. And so we see it as a
And
way
some
of
do. So, we have quite a
Yep.
few students who have gone on to like
Be
really, really great careers. But yeah, I agree with that.
But we provide we're trying to provide an experience for every
We
child.
spend a lot of time thinking, because I feel like over the past like 10 to 20 years, people think that because of the way music is marketed on TV, like American Idol and all of that, like there are people who are singers and then there's everyone else, rather than everyone's a singer. Like we can all sing together, and it's like the most amazing thing. So spending time going, okay, there's people that really want to shine and have their solo moments, and then there's these great moments with all of us together where we're all doing this communal thing. And
Yeah,
and I think that's what I love, the opportunity to try to
yeah.
But
you
see,
know.
this is something I have to say, and I agree wholeheartedly with you. What you're doing, as opposed to, there's a lot of people that will sit there and say, "I'm not creative. I'm not
Right.
creative. I'm not creative," and that's because a teacher somewhere or a
Yeah.
parent said, "Well, that what you just drew was just bad. What you did
Yeah.
was wrong. You can't sing." If the singing or the artwork brings joy to you, who are you to say
Then you're
that to a
doing it
child?
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's really not for anyone to say that. No one really has, it seems like just so overstepping to tell a person what they're capable or not capable of.
Yeah, and I will frame it in terms to the students. Be careful not to present an opinion as a fact. That, and it's also in education, what we see a lot are students with a fixed mindset and students with an open mindset. And the same is true for adults. The difference being a fixed mindset will be, I can't play the violin. A open mindset is, I can't play the violin yet.
Mhm.
And that one little word changes a whole lot. And a child who makes up their mind what they are and are not capable of doing at a very young age, that's like a little thing that's whispering in your ear for your entire life, and it follows you. And
Yeah, one of the things is that, and our school does this too. We're at a really amazing school. Is that it is we don't talk, we don't speak to like talent. We don't speak to what someone's capable. It's more about, we speak to the work, we speak to the effort, we speak to the joy. And if someone isn't practicing, they're not going to seek the rewards. But you don't want them to practice so they get some reward. The reward is getting better and
Right.
experiences music different. So there's a lot of emphasis on like the process more, and then to really instill like more intrinsic learning. But we're talking a lot about, now we're getting to pedagogy here.
sorry,
Maybe we should.
No, no,
Sorry.
no. Well, I was gonna, I was, no, I was
but
gonna.
you were
You mean,
talking about the whole streaming thing, and actually what has informed a lot of going into this album, this album has been getting written for the last 20 years. We just didn't know it.
Yeah.
So, or 20 years, maybe not 20 years, but for
1,000 years.
a long time. And that nowadays kids are they have access to an astounding catalog of music. And also they are experiencing music differently than maybe I did when I was a kid. I would listen to the radio or this and that, but I rarely listened to the radio with my parents. We had music playing in our house, but nowadays, because of streaming, people are listening and experiencing music together in a way that they hadn't in the past. And also I remember when my own kids were little and the songs that they liked, some of them I just wanted to my God, I couldn't stand them. But as we all know, kids like to hear something they like over and over and over and over and over again. So number one, if you want to have a song that the families aren't going to mind playing over and over again, make it one that they can like enjoy too. Don't it doesn't have to be sticky sweet. You don't have to sing down to kids. Kids like good music too. So we have students who are coming in now who know who the Beatles are. They know who Run DMC is.
I heard him singing at recess. I heard some fifth grade girls singing "Total Eclipse of the Heart," like they knew every word. I'm like, where did you learn this?
Yeah. And it's because they're listening to streaming music.
They just love it all.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. I remember when I was younger thinking about that everything needed a category, is it jazz? Is it pop? Is it this? Is it that? And now it's almost like there are the genres, the walls are down so much more, and the kids they don't think genres,
They just think, I like it, or I don't like it.
Well, and that's the thing. I think music has evolved a lot. And some people, I'll mention an excess and somebody's like, who? And that, I mean, granted, that's a band from the 80s, but they were big in the 90s, but still some
Which
bands
band?
will
Sorry.
In excess.
Oh yeah,
in
yeah.
excess. And some people will know who they are and other people are like, huh? I don't. But the thing is, even if you don't know a band by name, sometime a song will come on the radio. And that will be, I mean, I had a friend over, we were talking about a band, and she's like, I didn't know they sang that song. I love that song, but I didn't know they sang that song. So it's a matter of recognition sometimes just in the music itself without the recognition of the name.
Yep.
And all that comes with just exposure and sort of the way that you listen to music, and I just remember like when I was young where something would go on and the minute someone heard it, they would just be like, no, I don't like this because it's country. Oh, I don't like this because it's rather than going, oh, what's that? Oh, I noticed that they sound kind of like this. And I wonder if they're influenced by this. And, just trying to listen to music more critically in a good way, like critical thinking way.
I would agree with that. It's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But anyway.
Well, I was going to say, listening to your record, there's a lot to me. I know I was not a huge Spice Girls fan. I ended up getting into it later on, but there's a feel of the Spice Girls in the 90s.
Ooh,
I'll take it.
I like that. I didn't think of that one.
Which Spice Girl are you? I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Yes.
But I mean,
Exactly.
there's that pop feeling and the danceableness to it. So there's that potential of, you're not going to have just the kids liking it. The parents should like it as well, especially if it calls back to a time when they were younger.
Yes.
You know what, though? It wasn't written. I mean, I know that I do think that adults like to listen to it too, but it wasn't written with that in mind so much. It was more written like with things that we see in our world with children that was like, what, that could be a song to help them get through this moment or something to hype things up. It was more like the song was written. And then because of our pop, like I love a good pop song. So if I love a good pop song, it's gonna make its way into any music that I write, or if I'm gonna, like, you can tell which ones like that came, because Joni and I co-wrote this record, but she wrote most of like half the songs and I wrote most of the other half of the songs, and you could tell like our sort of our
different individuals.
We're not in bands together growing, like she was way more we were into different things, and but it's really an extension of who we are when we write a song, including even if it is for a little kid or a grown kid, and we and we take the kids really, one of our sort of core philosophies is that we take children seriously and we take their issues and problems and struggles seriously. So when a kid is, in fact, one of the songs was called "When I Go to School," was written, I remember this I told him too. He's in 6th grade now, but he was in like second or third grade, and it was the first day of school, and he's outside of the room and he's absolutely freaking out. He doesn't want to go into the classroom. He's terrified to go into the first day of school. And the dad was trying to like help him get over it. And it was just so hard for him. And I think that a lot of kids feel that way. And I think that a lot of older people feel that way too. Like my nephew was going to college, and my sister-in-law was like, oh my God, he's going. She said, I was listening to that song, and it's just that feeling of not measuring up is a real feeling for a child and for an adult. So it's like when we write that music, that's where it's coming from, like a real life experience. And then, okay, I'm a record producer, so I can make it sound however I
Right.
hear it. So, yeah.
And when I say that it's like we're writing music because the families are going to listen together, that wasn't the express purpose of this album, to Lisa's point. But that is the filter I generally go through when I'm writing music, is I write music that I would like to listen to as well. And, for some of these kids, their universe is so small. So the first day of school, proportion to their life, is a really big deal.
But
Really, really big deal.
to be fair to you, I had a friend who started a new job today, and she had anxiety today wasn't so bad because they invited her to the Christmas party last week before the job started. I'm like, that's the best time because you get to see people in a normal environment. So today was a lot easier because of that. But she still, last night was kind of like, yeah, I'm a little nervous about tomorrow. So that's
You got to play the song.
Yeah.
I mean, the first day went well, but it's one of those things where it's like there's still that whole anxiety. We always have that anxiety of starting something new or something we're excited about. There's always that underlying anxiety.
Right.
And everyone's always trying to figure out, like, what's the first step to get through this?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I, and so anyway, so yeah, so most of the songs are written like that. It's like, oh, you know what? What's something? Oh, maybe a song to go to sleep. Well, how do I go to sleep? When I go to sleep, what helps me go to sleep? Let me try to write a song about how I fall asleep. All right. Next thing you know, let's put some little shimmery little things on top. And what do kids like? Counting down. Let's count that down. And next thing you know, let's put a viola on there, make it sound really cool. Let's put Bob play piano on it.
Yeah.
Let's make a cool arrangement. I love the arrangement, the way that all worked out on that one. But just like all of them, though. I mean, that's how we write music. We don't write it from, what we want it to sound like backwards. It's like, oh, let's write something and see what happens. And then we can, kind of fit it into different things.
And all the songs are representative of a real experience that either we have had or our students or somebody in our family. It wasn't just, I got to write a song about this. It was, I'm feeling this way. I'm going to go ahead and write this song. So, like the I Missed You song I wrote that right when we went to virtual school. And I've seen their faces for the first time after figuring, and I missed you so much. I missed you. And it was just kind of like, I kept saying that over and over again. I missed you. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, that's, music is what feelings sound like. So that's what I was feeling like in the moment.
That's a good one.
Thanks.
Music feeling sounds like.
So what made you at 15 decide, hey, I want to be a musician? Was it a band? Was it just something you've always had the desire to be?
For me, I never made a decision.
Okay.
To do anything. At 15, I'm like, I'm just going to keep playing music and keep being in bands. And I was in the band. All right. So our story is like, we grew up in a very sort of free range music kind of household. There were instruments around everywhere. The family, we come from a big family. There was always kind of chaotic, fun, family, loving family. So we always had instruments, and Joanie and I, and our siblings too, would always gravitate towards that, and we'd just start making up songs. So that's where it started. And then when I'm older than Joanie, but when we got old enough in the school, we started studying going to band, and she did cello and I did saxophone. So we did all the way up through high school. We did our jazz band, we did the marching band, Joanie did the quartet and string orchestra. And then, I had no idea what I wanted. I was like kind of a mess. And the band teacher said, you should go to music school. I'm like, okay, I'll go to So it was just like the next string of events. So I went for music education, and then I got a music ed job, and then I had a band, and then my band got signed to Warner Brothers, and that brought me out to California. And then I went back to teaching. And then I started the band with Joanie, with another teacher at our school. So it's been just sort of a crooked line all the way through, you know, but it wasn't like this was a dream. You know, I've never been a person that had a dream that I was trying to fulfill. It was more like kind of grabbing energy as I go through my life and just sticking with
Kind of
the energy.
getting nudged here, getting nudged. I mean,
Yeah.
I got to be a disc jockey because I won a pizza off the radio.
Yeah. Pizza's very powerful.
I mean, I won a pizza. The guy, I ended up becoming friends with the jock. He's like, "Hey, my boss is looking for a DJ." Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand that
Yeah.
My
navigation.
path was a little bit different from Lisa's. Like I'd say for me, it wasn't like a decision to do it. It was more just like that's always who I was. I was always voice is my primary thing, and then strings and a few other things underneath that. But it's just it was like my identity. And honestly, the way we grew up, I mean, most of us played multiple instruments, and there was always singing and things like that. And I just assumed every family was like that.
Yeah.
I really did. I didn't know, and so I, went off to school, and I was singing and playing instruments and all that stuff. And I remember one time being like in the fifth grade or fourth grade, and somebody saying, "Oh, I asked, what instrument do you play?" And I play this, this, and this. And then I said, "Well, what do you play?" And then I play the violin. "What else do you play?" "Nothing. That's it." I was like, okay. Like I just assumed everybody did this, where it was like there was a full concert band in your house all at any given time. But I always just felt like it's who I was, not something that I did, but it was who I was.
Oh, yeah.
And my life has been a very winding path, but music has always been at the center of it forever, whether I was performing. And Lisa has more teaching experience than I do. But it's definitely more of a winding road, but music was always at the core of it every time. Yeah.
So, how did the Ghostbusters thing come about?
Okay, so being in in basically the music business, which is what we've been part of since we were we're able to. It's always a hustle, it's like, oh, give your demo tape to this, give it that, oh, play your band with this, oh, you're always trying to like get connected to a larger exposure. And we knew it started with we were playing a Halloween show. It was with the No Small Children band, and it was Joanie and Nicola. She was our drummer. She's a principal now up in Northern California, and we played a Halloween show. And we went as Ghostbusters, and we played Ghostbusters at the show, and people loved it. It was so much fun. I mean, who are you going to call? It was really fun. And at the end, someone goes, "You guys should record that." So we did. We recorded the track. And months later, we knew someone working on the movie, because we live in Hollywood, basically. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of movie and TV people here that you can, I mean, it doesn't mean that you're going to get it, but
Right.
you never know. And we gave it to this guy who was working on the film, and he, months later, he gave it to Paul Feig, who was the director of the movie, and he heard it. And it was the Friday before the movie locked, meaning it's done. And they're like, "We want this in the film." So they called us up. We didn't even have a lawyer. We found a lawyer, got everything signed within like 3 hours.
Yeah, they were like, if you want this to happen, you have to do it within the next 6 hours.
Yeah.
We're like, okay. So in 6 hours, we got a lawyer and we had it signed and send it back. And
it was awesome.
And Paul Feig, actually, he really championed us.
Yeah.
When he heard the recording, he was like, "Nope, we're going to make this happen." And he's actually afforded us many opportunities since then.
The Simple Favor was another film he put us into, among other things.
And that was it really
Jackpot too.
Jackpot, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But it was really like, once that happened, once we knew we were going to be in the film, it was like being shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
And
Imagine.
so, and we got to walk the red carpet, and they played our music a bunch of times, and and we got to see the premiere, and it
kept
was
walking back and forth.
Yeah, it was, but they played the song 3 times. It was awesome, but it was such a thrill, and really opened us up to a lot of other opportunities. And I mean, that's the thing about this business, is that the first gig begets the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And for the 99,999 things that you throw out into the universe, one of them is going to come back. And so you just keep throwing it out.
You keep throwing out, and you keep, creating energy and doing what you love, you know, and hopefully people hear it.
And it totally caught us off by
Yeah.
surprise though, like, because we just assumed it died on the vine. Like Lisa
Yeah,
said, she
it was
gave
months later.
Yeah, she gave it to him, and we didn't hear anything. It's like, oh, okay, because it's like anything else you do, you throw it out there, you say, what the heck? Don't ask, don't get. So we asked, and they we like it was just all of a sudden, we're like, oh my God, this is
Yeah, get on
happening.
the phone. Oh my
I
God,
can't believe it. You know, yeah. Can we pinch ourselves? We got to get new dressing. You know,
Yeah. That was the
We're
first
going
thing.
on the red carpet.
yes, yeah, it was thrilling. And then and introduced us to a whole bunch of new people, and it was just an incredible experience, incredible. And but this is
And it's cool too because it's the Ghostbusters song, even the song on its own, because it's a since it's a holiday song every year, it keeps getting played, and our version keeps growing and growing every year, which is really
yeah.
really cool. Outside of the movie itself.
This album that we just did with the Hat Ladies is the first time we've actually formally recorded a children's album. It's something this is the closest my two worlds have collided. Usually like it's teaching and being a musician, and they don't always overlap. And this time, this is as close as they are.
This is the first time it's overlapped
Yeah,
for me.
I've never done one before, but
we can come and we can actually, like, we're doing some of the teachers here, you know, are asking us to do the songs with the kids because the kids are home learning the songs, and so we're doing songs here, and people are coming in and asking us about it here, which is a first.
And now, and the kids know
that we can openly be, you know, oh yeah, you can go to this, rather than being like, that's not.
Don't listen to that track. Only listen to this one. But the kids now know when they see us wearing the hats on campus, they're like, oh, is the Hat Ladies here today? And we kind of have like our alter ego, the Hat Ladies. You know, we get into our
shirt.
I know I have a matching shirt to hers, and I didn't wear it. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. I noticed that you guys had Hat Ladies Radio. Is that something like a little interview show that you
WHAT, Hat Ladies Radio. It's actually part of our web series.
We're trying to get it together. We're trying to make a show. We've done two. They're two. They're like 10 to 15, 10, about 10 minutes long. And they're just us being silly, putting a show together of trying different things.
We interview people. Yeah. We will, you know, we have this segment called What's That All About? And then, so it'll be like, Lisa will blindfold me and then get me to taste something, and I have to guess what it is. And she gave me something the first time was super sour, and the kids loved seeing me going.
They were Pop Rocks.
You know, things like that.
But it's just a fun, it's, you know, being creative keeps us sane. So that's just part of the Hat Ladies thing, where we can get on there and just be ourselves, and we can edit anything out we don't want, which is usually we're pretty close right on though. And then so we put out, they're on our YouTube channel, the Hat Ladies YouTube channel. So we put out 2 episodes, and we're going to be doing one more before, probably before holiday break.
As teachers, we're in the middle of our concert season. Yeah. So it is just
Friday.
Yeah, ridiculously busy. But the line Hat Ladies Radio, actually, I believe that was part of that improvised thing that we did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's
Joanie improvised the song,
the Hat Lady, the dance,
the Hat Ladies dance song.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's Joanie improvised a lot of that, like what you hear on there, including that little radio thing at the top. She improvised it, and then she improvised the first verse. And I don't know about the second verse, but like first take, improvise. We just used it.
Yeah, and it was used. So it's like that was one of only 2 times in my life, the first take Jake, when you get it on the first try.
But that was very much the Spice Girls thing. That whole song had that very much that feel.
Yeah, it's very like dancey, you know.
And the melody, now that you mention it, I didn't even think of that, like the melodically too.
Yeah, they but I do it with my kids, like with my littles too, because there's a section, it's like jump, jump, and they jump, crisscross, crisscross. So they like going through the whole dance.
That was a no-brainer putting that part in.
I'm sure.
Jump, jump, crisscross, spin, turn around.
You know.
Now scream, woo! You know.
Go ahead.
No, you.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I lost my train of thought, so I'm gonna volley it back to you.
All right. So I noticed that you are trying to get some Grammy interest as well.
Yes, this album that came out, we literally released it the day
Yeah.
before the
I
voting.
think we need a little more runway.
Yeah, this was not a particularly long enough runway, but
We'll see for next year.
yeah, we're kind of hoping for it to be next year. But we did get our hats.
Yeah, we were in the race.
We were in the race, yes,
For sure.
We didn't get a nomination this time, but we're hoping the next time that we will, because
we'll have a year to
Yeah.
to runway.
Exactly, because nobody had even heard of it. You know, it's one day. So
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing about everything nowadays. You have to market, and I hate to say it, it's also, and I know you know this, it's about who you know.
well, and it is,
And who you pay.
yeah.
Yes.
When I originally, Lisa has been out in LA a lot longer than I have. And what brought me out here initially was she and I had a songwriting project together with her husband and another player. And so I used to come out like every 8 weeks for 5 days, and we would just write, record. And then I go back to Boston. And then when I finally, ultimately decided to relocate, and Lisa's, my kids were old enough at that point, and she's like, "Oh, when are you gonna bite the bullet and move here?" And I looked down at my phone, and I was getting ready to go back to 3 degrees in Boston. I was like, "Yeah, now's a good time." But in terms of the songwriting and the production and the performing and all that, it is a lot about being in the right place at the right time. So if you want to be in the right place at the right time, you got to be in the right place as much of the time as possible.
That's absolutely true. And it is who you know. As you were talking, it's who you know, but it's also, I feel like it's more of an even playing field than it's ever been right now. Like,
Yep.
It used to be, when I was starting in all of this, it would be like, if you don't have a record deal, you can't make a record. And now it's like pretty much anyone can make a record, which makes it harder for everyone, but more possible. If you hustle and you get, that, like you said, a label won't sign a band until you have all this stuff going on your own. Well, everybody has access to all the same things.
Right.
Which does even it out. It's like there's a lot more money making, a lot more people, musicians, whatever, artists, making a lot less money. And but I feel like it's possible for everyone.
Yeah.
If you have time to do social media constantly, and you hustle and you go out every night of the week to shows to meet up with people and get, like you say, be in the right place at the right time. You can make stuff happen. Like Pinstock just got a record deal.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's and they're just hustling like everybody else.
And I do think too that I don't ever recall a time in my life as a musician where that the artists themselves have had as much say over their art as they do now. Like, musicians have never had more control over their music than they do right now. But
it's just harder to find it.
Yeah, it's harder to find it, but we all have, there's way more access. You have access in a way that you absolutely never did before.
As an author, it's the same. I watch people sit there and hustle to try to get that book deal. And it's like, why? They're going to tell you what your cover is going to look like. They're not going to market you necessarily any more than you're going to market yourself. And you get to tell the story you want to tell.
It's worse for authors, I think.
Yeah.
It's really hard for the book. The book thing, I feel, is really, really hard.
You can self-publish, but it costs a lot of money to do. You have to have a lot of money to self-publish a book.
Not really.
No, I'm talking about the actual cost of creating it, not like the distribution and stuff.
I've published 5 books.
Okay.
I have published 5 books, and the most expensive thing that I've blown money on was a public relations agent that did absolutely nothing. An editor cost me about $800. A cover artist, I actually do my covers now, but at the time, it cost me $100. So I mean,
but for some people, like $800 and $100 is a lot of money.
It was the only reason I could do it was because I had money at the time. But I've gotten to the point where I've taught myself, and the problem is, there's a lot of people that are predatory, and it's the same thing in the music industry. I can make you somebody. I can help you publish this book, and you just sign your rights away, and I'll publish your book for you, and you can pay me to publish your book. I never went that route. But there are people that will do that. And when I taught a class about self-publishing, There was a person that came in and said, I paid $800 for somebody to publish my thin little book. And then after they published the one copy, I never heard anything from them again.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, it's a tight business, but it is, what I'm getting at is just like with a musician. I mean, because you need equipment. If you're a musician, you need the equipment to record. So both of them, either it's a musician or the author, have those little expenses that they have to deal with.
Yeah, it's true.
It is. It's like especially when you're first starting out, for every $100 you earn as a musician, you're paying $200 to do, for a band, a movie, or
By the way, we have to pay Richie.
Oh, okay, okay. The
We got merch. We'll make that money
guy.
back though.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah,
And by the way, the merch, I'm going to digress here, is going to be available on thehatladiesmusic.com as soon as Joni puts it up.
And what kind of merch is this?
T-shirts, bucket hats, capes, and like some fun beaded bracelets. And but in addition to that, as music educators too, we know that when you are trying to do a lesson plan and you want to teach a song, if the backing track and the lead sheet is available to you, makes the lesson go by so fast. We actually sell we have the backing tracks and the lead sheets available for anybody who wants to download it just to play it
You can get
themselves.
to it from our website,
Yeah.
but it's on Bandcamp.
Bandcamp, yeah.
Nice, nice.
Stuff like that. So it is, and I love merch, honestly. I have a million band t-shirts.
All my shirts are band t-shirts, are black. First of all, they're black with white writing and
Always choose black, but the people love t-shirts and people love, the bucket hats are new. The bucket
the
hats.
kids like the bucket hats right
Yeah.
now. That'll go away, but right now they're into it.
Yes. None of the bucket hats will fit me, of course, because I have a giant melon.
We're back to the head thing.
It's okay.
And full circle.
It's always good to go full circle. So do you plan on touring this summer with this? Or on spring break?
The interesting thing, like the children's music and family music, that circuit is different than what I am used to typically. You're not going to be playing nightclubs. You play libraries, or you play music,
Right.
family, things like that. So we do have shows that we're playing. We don't have a specific tour planned.
Yeah, we're not planning any tours right now, but it's definitely something we want to start doing.
Yeah.
But it's not the familiar routes that we have, routes that we have with our other projects. So we're figuring that out. We've done a couple shows, small shows, but we're figuring that out. Yeah. Right now we're pretty much on the internet.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the thing. It's like you can play libraries, you can play festivals. There is back in the day, shopping malls, because we don't really have.
Yeah, not so much. Yeah, they're harder to come by these days. And most of the time when you're, there are places you can do and things you can do, for sure.
There are tours, like we can book our own tour with like a rock band. It would be a whole new start with Hat Ladies, with the Hat Ladies tour, but I know we could do it.
Oh, yeah.
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 We just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it's
So yeah,
one rung at a time, but we're working on it.
yeah, we're working on it.
So
after the winter concert,
which I know, I mean, that has to be a lot of work in itself, putting together a concert.
it's so fun though.
It's
a blast.
super fun. And for our school in particular, we have tremendous support for the arts where we teach. And what is foundational to any performing arts program is performing. So we have concerts, instrumental concerts, vocal concerts, a dance performance, theater. There's
Pep band
at the games. So there's every grade does a different thing, and it's
a blast. And I love the holiday
Me
music.
too.
It's like a good communal thing.
Yes.
For everybody.
Yes.
The kids are playing all the songs, and we have like a sing along thing at the end.
Yeah, but we're doing how many performances in a year do our kids do?
A lot.
Like at least almost close to 30.
Wow, that is a
in a year,
lot.
which is a lot.
But that's part of our philosophy though.
Yes.
The immersive part of it is just get them playing, less talking, more playing. So we'll just we'll put a pep band at a football game, because the kids love that, they love it. And again, it's following the energy and And if they're into it, we'll do it. If they're not into it, I'm not into it either.
Understand. I mean,
Yeah.
and the thing is, it is better to, they're going to learn much more by actually being hands-on than sitting there
Oh,
in a
you bet.
classroom and just,
Experience is the best teacher, no
yeah,
doubt. And
yeah.
it's also too, we have to have fewer conversations about practicing
Yeah.
when they have to have a performance, because the pressure of the performance is what motivates them to practice. But it's the siren song of every music teacher. You need to practice more. You got to practice more. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. It's
So
a very old joke.
if you had, if this, let's just say this blows up, would you be willing to walk away from teaching?
Ooh,
I always feel like it's every single decision. I have to wait till that moment.
Oh, yeah.
I would absolutely, if something blew up and there was an opportunity that came along, I would absolutely responsibly walk away. In a way like make it, because I did before. I was a high school band director when my band got signed out of Boston, and it was Randolph, Massachusetts. And I had to leave a job that I loved. I had a whole program, the whole thing. And of course, I'm going to go to LA with my rock band, do a record for Warner Brothers. And I know I do the same again, with the idea that, you cover your tracks, you're part of the process to make sure it all doesn't fall apart when you leave. And also with the idea that you can always come back, maybe not to this same school because they might evolve from that. But I know that there's going to be children that need music teachers for the rest of my life,
yeah.
and maybe it'll be a new thing after that. But it's I look at all of this as like it's all little roads in my life, and I want to like have a life that I took advantage of everything that came my way. And certainly that would be that would be something I want to do. But I also love this, like I love my life here too. So it would have to be something that
Have to be a
really,
very big carrot.
yeah,
But if that did happen, first of all, what a wonderful problem to have.
yeah, exactly.
And I think that we have to model for the kids, not just what we do in the classroom, but the choices we make for our life. And that would be a big risk for us to walk away from a job that we love. But if you believe in yourself and an opportunity comes your way, sometimes you have to jump. You have to take a try. And that is good modeling for our kids. When you have an opportunity, even when it's hard, go for it. But I should say, not but, I would also feel like teaching is something that's kind of attached to my bones. And I'm not sure.
It would be a diversion for both of us.
Like
It wouldn't be
I would
like
go off and do nothing, but I'm always going to come back to teaching. It's because it's just so rewarding for me. And I say this is, in this day and age, we're very fortunate at the school that we work with, but this is probably the hardest time that I can remember being a teacher.
Yeah.
For a lot of teachers. They are stressed to the max. And people,
and also the kids are like the brains of the children. Everything with the pandemic, things change,
and
then
technology
and the brains, like the whole like device thing I feel like it's changed brains, and
Mhm.
it's definitely challenging for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you just, it's like everything, you evolve as you go. You
Yeah.
evolve. All right, this isn't working. What will work? All right, we're going to do, instead of doing one concert where they have to focus, we're going to do, like we said before, 30 concerts and get out there and do all these fun things where their focus has to be in a different way. But it's definitely challenging in the classroom right now.
Yes.
But it's like what you said though. We can always, we would both, I can pretty much say that we would both always want to come back to teaching if that happened. I did come back.
Yes.
I was on Warner Brothers and I just couldn't get back to teaching faster. I missed it so much.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my controlling nature, but
I don't think you're controlling.
well, a lot of teachers are like, they love the control of the classroom.
They like the details.
It's manageable.
They got their planner and they got the board and they're super organized. And like it's really, I have always thought that in my life I've kind of had a parallel career,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's all, but they're really kind of the same thing, you know, like being a musician and being a music teacher. When you sing to a crowd of drunk people, it's very similar to running a kindergarten
It
classroom.
really is.
So,
I can
but
imagine.
it's the greatest. Like, hey, listen, if you don't love the sound of children singing joyfully, there's something broken in you. Seriously. Like, it's way bucket filling. And because they like my jokes, and I'm big, my jokes go over real
That's
well
the
with
real reason. She likes
5-year-olds.
people laugh at her jokes. That's why she
Captive
loves
audience,
That's
captive
yeah,
audience.
right.
captive audience. That's exactly right, Donna.
But I mean, here's, when you bring up a good point about technology and technology in the classroom. At least being a music teacher, you don't necessarily have that distraction because there's something else except for voice, something else in their hands. There's an instrument in their hands.
Yep,
Yep.
definitely. But I feel like we're up against, yeah. I feel like we're like when you think about what they're seeing on a daily basis, and what they're exposed to, and with devices and YouTube and TV and the music that a lot of them listen to, all the messaging and the country and the politics, the way the politicians talk to each other, all of this and that's what we're up against.
Yeah.
So they come to class, and that's what, like, their whole world is exposed to, and they're anxious parents because parents are super anxious right now because they're uncertain for their children. So that's what they come in with, and then we have to get them to believe that, and peace on earth, what I mean? Or,
Right.
joyful songs. And I think that's, going back to what I was saying before, that's also one of the real challenges that I think a lot of us are having in teaching, is that's, everybody but us is like telling them something different.
Yeah.
And like pulling it in the other direction.
It's true.
And then the teachers will get blamed for a lot of the problems on top of it. So
Or they're blamed, or they're held, they are being asked to provide something for students that they've never had to do before. That is typically something that you would see at home. Can you tell my child to practice? Yeah, of course I do, but we also need you to make them practice. It's kind of like they didn't want to. It's like, okay, yeah, okay. But there's a term that I've heard recently, where the great rewiring of children's
the
brain.
anxious generation.
Yeah.
Book.
But the great rewiring is essentially the kids who are brought up nowadays, they are rarely bored. They have access to nonstop entertainment, and the speed with which it happens, the algorithms are tapped into their brains, and they don't experience boredom. And when things often get really, really hard, they have difficulty pushing through the discomfort. And so that's what we're competing with too. And
with the parents too. The parent.
Yeah, the parent. Hey, listen, the adults are on their phones as much as the kids are.
Well, also the great rewiring you're talking about is it's like early 90s is when that stuff really started to happen.
Yeah.
They're all parents of the kids now.
Yep.
It's like it's almost worse for them. They were the ones that really got messed up. But we could talk, I feel like we're back on.
I am waxing poetic a lot, but it is kids are different now. Teaching is a different thing than it was 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago.
And that's the thing, people have to consider that. And, I was at a restaurant, and there was like a 3-year-old with the cell phone watching a movie at the restaurant. And it's like, okay, but are you doing your child a disservice? Because you're not allowing them to be creative. They're being fed things right off the bat, because they're not getting bored.
And they don't, and it also means they're not learning how to self-soothe.
Right.
It's also, but the parents, it's easier for the parents to not have to worry about a screaming child too.
Yes, it's true.
I get it. I mean, I was a parent, and I get it. And when you were talking about the repetitive thing, my daughter The Little Mermaid. Oh my gosh, she would sing the little all the time.
My
But
oldest loved Barney, and I was like, oh my God, please, no more Barney.
oh, my oldest had the alternate Barney song that I will not sing here, but yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't very friendly to Barney. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So is there a plan to do another record? I know you had four songs done, and then you wrote five more to add to this. Is there another record in the works?
Probably. Like there's some songs that we didn't put on this record that because they weren't finished or weren't done being realized. But we're always writing songs,
Yeah.
like both of us since then, and probably you've probably written songs since then.
Yep.
And so have I. And when we have some time, where there's a runway to actually get it done. What I don't want to do is like start it and then let it sit. When we have like a month or two to really dive in, when we have time, and we'll do another one.
And it's also what we've learned from this experience too. We had a self-imposed deadline.
Yeah.
Which really helped. And we haven't really done that before so much is we said, okay, we got to have it done by this date for sure. And I think we do better when we have deadlines.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I don't think people realize how much work actually like it seems like it's not that much work. It's so much work
man.
to make a record from beginning to end.
And Lisa produced the whole album.
So it was a lot of night, a lot of like all day at work, eat dinner. My husband went to the couch and I went to the studio. Yeah.
And on
and
weekends,
I wanted to go to the couch.
yes.
Yeah.
And on weekends
But that's probably like for you too, Donna, like with a book, it's like that too. It's like,
right.
It's like the discipline of going and doing the work when everyone else is chilling, and just like, oh, okay, I'm going in for an hour or two every night, no matter what, is really that moment is what makes it happen. Like when you decide.
Oh, exactly. It's even with the podcast, because even with the podcast, yes, fortunately I have a guy who does my audio. He does come in and do the sound, cleans up the sound. But then I get it back from him, and then I got to match up the video, and then I got to make all the ads. And so there's always these little processes, and I do it because I like doing it, because I enjoy it. I'm not making any money doing this, but I enjoy what I'm doing. So that's part of the reason. It's like writing. It's like I may never be a big best-selling author, but if I can tell a story, and if I enjoy telling that story, and I have a few people that enjoy the story too, then great. And yes, I published 5 books. 3 of them I decided that I pulled because they could be better written. And because I am self-published, I get to do that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the thing. So, like I said,
being creative is like, I feel like being creative is part of sanity for a lot of people. For me, it is too. Like, I would rather, just creating something from nothing it really is good for my sanity for sure.
Making music is the cheapest therapy I have ever gotten.
we'll see. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, for me too, when I'm feeling badly about something or mad or upset or whatever, I just gotta sing. Honestly, it's like how I get the ick out. And the process of like writing a song is a way I take the ick and transform it into something awesome. And like that is 100% therapeutic for me, especially the singing part.
And I think that's with most creatives. If you don't do something creative and you don't do it for a couple of days or a week or so, it gets blocked and you get agitated. And it's like, it's got to come out because that's part of who you are. That's part of your soul. I mean, when I was 16, yes, I wanted to be a bass player. Okay, yes. And I still own my bass. I really haven't played my bass in 20 years, but...
Never too late.
No, I know. But it's just one of those things where it's like I have other creative avenues and I'll never get rid of my bass. But it's one of those things. It's like it was a dream I chose not to pursue. But being an author, that was something I always wanted to do. So I finally did it. And that's the thing with the opportunities with the music business and the writing business now, being an author. You can pursue those dreams. Just have your expectations be realistic.
Yes.
And do it because you're passionate about it, not because, oh, I'm going to make $1 million.
Right, exactly. Absolutely.
So
we're going to be better, so much better than everyone else,
right?
The other band on the bill,
right?
Yeah.
Like it's also the whole idea of better than or worse than. It's so silly when you're talking about music because there is no best or better. It's just what you like the most.
Right.
Like food. It's like saying, fact, brownies are better than cookies. That's not a fact. I just like it more. Yeah.
Maybe in my world, brownies are better than cookies, but in your world, that might be something different.
I like
Exactly.
brownies and cookies.
Can I have a brownie cookie? How about a cookie brownie cookie?
Do you want some ice cream or whipped cream between those?
Yes, that sounds delicious. Now I got to go and eat my supper.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to add?
Where to find our music, which is on basically all the streaming platforms. You can find the Hat Ladies, and you can find the albums, you can find the songs. Bandcamp has all the credits, has all the lyrics, has all the lead sheets, and has backing tracks. Our website will soon have our merch. It doesn't at the moment, but it will vary by the time this is out. It will.
She's elbowing me.
And then of course it's on Spotify, Apple Music, and everything in between. And our YouTube, we have a YouTube channel. Follow us on YouTube where we have the Hat Ladies Radio. Hat Lady Radio. And among other things, like little videos, like you said, sometimes I just like to be creative. So like a little stop motion Hat Lady video or something like that. And so you can get it all there too, but that's basically it.
And all those links will be in the show notes. I thank you ladies for coming on.
Thank you so much, Donna. Have a wonderful day.
Joanie and Lisa's journey was one that's pretty interesting. I mean, when you think about it, our lives never are very linear. We try things, we try to do something, and maybe we end up here and maybe we end up there. And you never know. I think back to when I was living in New Orleans for the second time in my life, and someone told me I was going to be based out of Chicago for my career. And I just was like, there's no way I'm going back to Chicago. And I've been here 30 years. But at the time, it was like, nope, can't do that. And the statement about taking, you have to be not only in the right place at the right time, but you have to be willing to take that risk. It's something that's very important. And sometimes we have that opportunity and then we get in our own way. And when we get in our own way, we block ourselves from doing that. And that creates a block for energy. And when you listen to the kids' record, it's like they're dealing with those childhood issues. And I think sometimes as adults, we may not have had those proper teachers, those proper people in our life to push us through to have faith in who we are. And Joanie and Lisa seem to be those teachers that will give you that gives you that inspiration, that's going to tell you, yes, you're creative. I can't tell you how many times I've read for clients doing readings, and I'll tell them that they need to pursue this creatively. They need to pursue art, or they need to pursue something else, and they need to work with being more creative. And these grown people will look at me and say, I'm not creative. I don't know how to do that. I'm not creative. And that's because somebody somewhere down the line said, yeah, you don't do that. But the thing is, we all have that creative soul inside of us. We all have that part of us that is wanting to be able to create something from nothing. Whether it's planting plants, whether it is decorating your house, because most people are like, oh, well, that's not creative. But it is, because when you're putting together your look, your aesthetic, as some would say, for your living room or your bedroom, that is creating. You're creating a look. Granted, you're borrowing from other things, but sometimes art is about borrowing from other things. Like music, you can sample things to make a new song. You can create something. Or like they did, they fine-tuned and recreated the Ghostbusters theme. And that led to an amazing opportunity for them. So don't get in your way and sit there and say, well, I can't do that. Because that is the biggest block you will ever have is, I can't. Who said that to you, and why can't you? Get out of your way. And go check them out. All their website information is on the show notes. The Hat Ladies, like I said, I listened to it, and it does have a little bit of the Spice Girls. So you might find yourself wanting to listen to it with your kids and enjoying it, because it's going to get you moving. It's going to get you motivated. There are a couple of slow songs, but overall, there's a little bit of dance to it, a little bit of moving. So on that note, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, day, whenever you're listening to this. I want to thank Fast Susie for the intro and outro music. And I'd like to thank Rich Zai of Third Ear Audio for our audio production. And I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. And I really do appreciate it. So until next time, I wish you a very great day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.